Well, it's well before dawn, and I've got all my warm gear on because it's pretty chilly out here. I think it's about 6 or 7 centigrade was what the forecast was supposed to be for. And so I got my city warm hat on, scarf, thick jumper, thick jacket, and I've even got my long my trousers on to keep me from getting wet, because there's probably going to be quite a heavy dew out there. So we've turned the instruments on, about to take off the shore power. So here's the view all around, well before dawn. We're getting the shore lights, we're in the marina, San Diego Yacht Club, Shelter Island Harbour, and it's the water is very, very still. There is no wind, so we're definitely going to be motoring, and I expect we're likely to motor all the way to Ensenada. So I'm about to take off the shore power. I'm going to check that the engine works first. Pretty important to have that working. Shore power off, lines, and then back out and off we go. So here we are, safely underway. Released the power cord and disconnected that, and took away the shore lines. And here we are, taking off from San Diego in the dark. So very, very quiet. There's no one around. I'm hearing the odd transmission on the VHF radio, channel 16. And we'll just have a nice easy ride out of San Diego. Passing by the guest dock, by the San Diego Yacht Club clubhouse, with the lights reflecting beautifully in the still water. Well, that's good. We're past the shadow section. There's a pretty shallow area. Jack of the Lantern or something is the name of the mark that warns you that it's very shallow just there. So we're safely away from that, back out into deep water, 60 odd feet. And yeah, a lot of unlit dark shapes on the edge of the channel as we came by. I'm heading for the red lights, keeping those to port, of course, going out in North America, around the other way in Europe. And any green lights I keep to starboard, and that is showing me where the main channel is. So very calm. Almost no wind, clearish sky, a little bit of overcast, but not much. I'm seeing the odd stars through the overcast. Mistiness more than overcast, in fact. And what are we? We're making 5.5 knots over the ground, which is fine for the time being, just getting away, and then we can speed up a bit. Pretty busy Navy area here. Very bright lights, totally destroys my night vision, of course. And there's no moon. And now we're heading up the main channel to leave San Diego Harbour. Keeping an eye on the buoys again. There's the green light off to starboard, well clear of that. The channel is pretty wide, but it's also quite long. And when you're on autopilot, it could just veer off. So just keeping an eye on things. On autopilot now while I get the fenders in, because I suddenly realised I had my washing hanging out. And yeah, everything's fine. No other boats around, no sign of anyone else around. So pretty nice evening. And we'll get the last of those fenders in on the starboard side. So there we are, looking towards San Diego City. Coronado Bridge, I think that must be there in the distance, quite distinctive, and coming around towards the harbour entrance and the channel ahead of us, with just green and red lights flashing. So we're making 6 knots over the ground, and the wind almost dead ahead is just under 4 knots, so really no wind to talk about. So not going to be a sailing day, I don't think. There we have Point Loma in the distance, lighthouse flashing. So we're coming out into the open water now. A couple of little fishing boats out here, I think. You can see the lights ahead. Just see a couple of fishing boats ahead there, or off to starboard actually, they're not ahead of us at all. We're coming up the channel, they're off Point Loma, fishing and probably in the shallow water there. And we're just passing this green flashing channel marker. Probably has a load of sea lions on it, having a sleep. Sometimes you hear them making a noise, very rarely. So here's my route down, pretty well south, out of Shelter Island Harbour Bay area, and down through the channel into the main channel. Just passing a red buoy off to port here, keeping on that side of the channel rather, because we're heading down south, and that's roughly the way we're going now actually. Little change of direction needed when we get out of the channel. And then I think it's time for coffee, time to get some coffee on. 5 to 6 and first light is appearing. Sunrise will be happening in a little bit, so we'll keep an eye on that. I'm just about to have my coffee. That came through a moment ago, so I can do with that. Haven't had anything since I got up early this morning. Just wanted to get underway, and now that we can relax a bit, we're out of the channel. We're pretty well out of the way of any other boats around. There's Disney Wonder, the cruise ship I think, a passenger ship is just coming into port. But nothing, no little ships really ahead. But obviously have to stay up and keep an eye out, because some of these little fishing boats don't have AIS to warn me if I'm not out eyeballing it, keeping an eye out physically and not relying on my instruments. So there's Disney Wonder passing by, brightly lit, coming into port. So it's just gone 6 o'clock and we're looking along the coast here. You can see the sun's about to rise, beautiful colouring, lovely hilly outlook there, and we're actually looking off to port. Ahead of us is actually Mexico, so we'll be passing over the Mexican border at Tijuana in a short while. We just crossed the border into Mexico, the USA-Mexico border a few moments ago, and so Tijuana is just off that way, and here's the sun trying to come up over the hills here. Off the other way, down back that way, we've got San Diego, and we're still looking for the sunshine. We're waiting for the sun to rise. We did get a couple of dolphins come by earlier, which was quite nice. Suddenly realised there were these dark shapes in the water by the boat, by Narida. And I can't believe how long it's taking for the sun to come up over the hill. It's so close. But finally, of course, it had to happen, and eventually the sun did come up over the horizon, and that was really lovely to see. Well, I finished my coffee, and the sun, of course, is now well up. And I'm still, although I'm wearing my sunglasses because it's pretty bright, it is also very cold, and I'm freezing. I've got my warm hat on, I've got my scarf, I've got layers galore, and my jacket. And I still had my over trousers on from the heavy dew that was expected first thing this morning. Quite near the border are the Coronado Islands. They seem to be well frequented by the fishermen, so obviously they have shadows around them and presumably a really good fishing area, but rather dramatic. soon after, there were several of these anchored vessels sitting offshore. Looked like tankers was marked on the chart, so I presume that this was some kind of a fuel depot, and they were waiting to offload or whatever. But certainly had to be careful. They were right in our path. So here we are, just gone midday, and there's a vessel over there, black and white, black with a white top. And here we are, well on our way towards Ensenada, and hoping to get there 3-ish in about 3 hours time. And then I'll get some fuel, and then I'll head over to Cruise Port Marina to stay for a few days and finish getting the boat organised, because in fact we left without being properly organised. But a pleasant day. It's got a little bit warmer now with the sunshine, especially if I keep out of the little bit of wind that we've got. The wind is mainly the wind that we cause by moving. There's really nothing still to sail to. So, heading towards Ensenada, we come into Bahia de Todos Santos, and those are the islands of Todos Santos. The lighthouse on it. And then we come round to the headland and on around to Ensenada. Quite a busy little town. Quite a few vineyards not far away, wineries. So there's where we've just come from. And we're going to come in and get some fuel, top up with fuel, and then go around to Cruise Port to the marina. Ensenada is quite a busy port. Cruise ships often come in, and it looks as though there might be one in now. And the cruise ship terminal is actually very close to Cruise Port. A little bit closer to Ensenada now, and the whole area is fairly built up, and clearly I think there is a cruise ship in today. But one thing I just discovered was that I couldn't go and get fuel because I'd not cleared into Mexico from the US. Until I clear into the country, I'm not permitted to pick up any fuel, or basically I'm not permitted to do anything. So which is a bit of a nuisance, because the distance between where I'm going to into the marina to where the fuel is to tie up to the fuel dock is quite a way away, but a good half hour or more. Anyway, it is what it is, and we'll come into Cruise Port Marina. I've got a slip organised there, so tie up there, and then finally, eventually at some point I'll get the fuel. I might do it differently. I might do it with jerry cans if it's just a little bit that I need. I have got a sight gauge on my fuel tank, so I can see exactly how much fuel I need to put in the tank, so that's good. We have to be careful coming into Ensenada because there's a long arm that comes out, a protective breakwater, and you have to go around that, and it's also quite shallow inshore, so you have to be a little bit careful, make sure you get it right. So I'll go and concentrate on that now. So the Islas Todos Santos are clearly rather quite a way away from Ensenada. We're in the Bahia Todos Santos, and here's the point. I believe that point there is called also Todos Santos, All Saints in English. So here we go, around the bay. Now that we were getting closer, the long breakwater was clearly visible, as was the cruise ship, and I was keeping a careful lookout for the red and green buoys that were leading into the channel. I think the channel is probably more for the cruise ships than small boats like Narida. But anyway, I knew I had to go right up to the bow of the cruise ship and then hang a right and then hug the wall of the marina really close in order to get something like enough depth of water. It was near low water, and 11 foot went down to 10 foot, but then it paused, and as I turned into the marina entrance, the depth got a little bit less worrying, and it was really lovely to see a welcoming party on the dock there, ready to take my lines, lots of smiling faces, and a really nice welcome to Mexico, in fact.